cash. We're here in Moline on the Mississippi River. Don't miss this one. Yes, sir. We are in John Deere country. As a matter of fact, just for the fun of it today, we've traded our Chevy for a tractor to launch Tommy Biffle's boat. Now, Tommy, along with George Cochran, Gary Klein, Jerry Williams, and the man whom you saw sharing the water with Biffle there, Davey Height, have survived 3 long days of qualifying. They are our finalists today, and one will be a real hero before it's all over. And as a big Moline crowd watches, Jerry McKinnis visits with each one before the takeoff.
I know you've had a lot of big days in your fishing career. This would have to rank in the top 10, wouldn't it?
Oh, it's got to be #1. You know, there's never been a payout like this in the history of competitive bass fishing, and I think all 5 of us would have to say it's probably the biggest day in our fishing career.
Especially this time of year, the fish are still real shallow, and they'll move out to the channels in about a month from now when it cools down. But right now, it's very important to be real quiet in the boat, and ease up in there, and make kind of long casts. That's how I'm catching my fish.
Okay, George, we'll let you sit down. Good luck to you, Dave, man.
Thank you, Jerry.
A lot of luck for a good old Arkansas fisherman. I'm going to have to cut you off here a little bit sooner than normal because Tom Biffle's got almost a 20-minute speech that he wants to make. So he's good. Yeah. And you guys have caught a good string of fish, both of you, every day. As a matter of fact, the non-boater caught possibly, I think, the second biggest string we've had out. So there must be a lot of fish live there.
There is a lot of fish, and you know, I don't think we're going to run out of fish today. I think we're going to have a real good day, and you know, I think it's going to be between me and Davey and maybe George and maybe these other guys, you know. But I really believe it's going to come down to who gets the big bite.
Gary, he didn't even include you and Jerry in that. Can you believe that?
Well, I got news for Tommy. This kid's not going to roll over. There's $250,000 at stake, and I'm going to do everything I can to win it.
I'm not sure. See, I'm not as... These guys here, they know what they're doing, and I'm just kind of stumbled into this situation.
Don't give us. And listen to that, Gary.
After listening to Biffle...
Wait a minute. You've been in this spot 3 times this year, and you've just stumbled into it?
Well, yeah, you know the blind hog and the acorn theory, so...
I'm going to let you go. You're lying to us. We don't want no more of that. Good luck to you, Jerry. Good luck to all you guys, and thanks for the extra 15 or 20 minutes here, guys. Good luck.
Amazing to get a crowd like that so early in the morning for the takeoff. We're not just in Moline, we're in what they call the Quad Cities, Moline, Bettendorf, Rock Island, and Davenport, right here along the Mississippi River. Now, 2 of our anglers will be going upstream 2 locks. That would be Davey Height and Tommy Biffle. They're sharing that water, as we saw at the top of the show. Now, 2 other anglers, George Cochran and Gary Klein, are also going upstream, but just for 1 lock. And 1 angler, Jerry Williams, going downstream for 3 full locks. Now, 4 anglers that are going upstream are now in the first lock. George Cochran, Gary Klein there. And Davey Height's expecting to get through the second lock, but he's going to call just to make sure.
Yes, Lockmaster. This is one of the small vessels that are in the tournament that is coming up for the lock schedule. And we called yesterday morning and notified that we would be earlier than scheduled. Would it be any way we could have it open and come on through a little earlier? Well, we're in 14 He's closing the gate, so it should be 45 to 50 minutes. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
My secret weapons.
Well, that's George Cochran, the angler from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Already has notched a win out here on the Walmart FLW Tour. That was in our first year of competition at Kentucky Lake, but what must be going through his mind right now? He knows, like all of these anglers, know that everything has to go just right today, but boy, if it does, what an ending awaits them.
And I know this afternoon it's going to be crazy down there. We're going to definitely make history today. This afternoon from 3 to 5 o'clock is going to be the most awesome thing in the history of bass fishing.
Look at that sunrise. That can tell us one thing. We are in for a very nice day here on the Mississippi.
Let's do it.
Okay, Tommy, our first 4 boats are kind of in sync with the river locks. What
I mean,
about the
that's-
only boat heading south, Jerry Williams, who has the farthest to go and only 2 or 3 hours to fish?
He said Bill locked him through earlier. I said, well,
Bill, the guy that runs this thing, locked us through yesterday out of 17. He locked us down. He said, "Oh, that's no problem," and blew the horn before the lock was halfway open.
Not here, he didn't.
No, it's 17. The guy that's over these locks here.
Well, he can do that, but I'm not, you know. They put something out.
But there's only me. There's only one guy in the lock, and they've been doing this all week.
What if a guy shows up 5 minutes from now?
Sir, there's
I'm going to hear about it.
no, there's nobody going to show up.
Well, I don't know that for sure.
Trust me, there's 5 guys in this tournament, and I'm one of them. They're up. They've been up all week.
Sorry. Rules are the rules.
Okay.
Hey, they put out rules after.
And you won't call to the next lock for me either, will you?
Yeah, I do that.
I mean,
Did yesterday. Well,
and you let me through yesterday. Somebody did. They let me through yesterday on time. There's $250,000 at stake here. $250,000, and I'm not going to get my opportunity to fish because I can't get through a lock.
Jerry Williams did not want to see that happen this morning. Probably laid awake last night worrying that just that sort of thing is going to happen.
Well, if it makes him feel any better,
yeah, these guys.
Biffle and Hyde have made a bit of a wrong angle going up the river, and both of them have beached their boat.
Oh, boy.
And you know, the water fluctuates in each one of these pools, and, you know, from day to day it changes. So out they go. And there was a little bit of question from Biffle
as to whether or
Hyde.
not this was legal.
Yeah, getting out of the boat, and you know, and Davey hollered, "Yeah, you can get out of your boat if that's what's required to get off a sandbar." And so, looks like the guys are back in business.
Boy, that's hard.
He's going to go by the schedule and no exceptions, and there's 5 boats coming down, and he's really misinformed. He doesn't have a clue what's going on. I mean, the other guys have been locking us through all week, and this guy probably shows up on the weekend, and I'm sorry, I can't do this with a straight face.
Jerry Williams doing a good job of containing himself there, because you know he is boiling inside.
Got to be very frustrating. He has a little window to fish out of today, and something like this is just a killer to him. He may make it up going down the river, though, and Gary Klein is the first guy with a lure in the water today. Isn't that something? He's throwing a buzz bait, fishing shallow water.
Right species, just the wrong size. I'm going to catch his grandfather here shortly, or grandmother.
Well, Gary will be flipping before the day's over with, I bet you. But to begin the day with, as I said, he's throwing a buzz bait, and most of these guys could get out of the boat and wade to the bank. They're fishing that shallow.
It's so shallow here, I can't reach the bank with the trolling motor. But then right behind us is the main river channel. It's only out there about 20 yards. So I really felt good about this area, thinking that it might have a population of fish that I can't deplete because they're using the river to migrate.
Jerry, I know it seems odd with all these tournaments we've covered on the FLW Tour. We haven't seen anybody fish with a buzz bait yet. Talk about what that's supposed to do.
They fish with it a little more than we think because it covers lots of ground. They'll use it to actually locate fish sometimes and then catch them with something else. But as you can see, it does cover lots of water. Now, when there's no lily pads or grass around, it's kind of the thing to be throwing right now. In lily pads, we have to switch to another lure.
I don't know if he is or not, but we're going to find out.
Well, Gary's going to put him on the board. He is looking for 15 inches here. That is the size limit here on the Mississippi River at the Quad Cities.
Hey, and we always see him take the first fish, put it in the live well, and reach over to the controls by the steering wheel there. And they're obviously turning on their aerator. These fish are very well taken care of until they're turned loose.
That's one.
The Walmart FLW Tour is brought to you by Walmart. Always low prices, always Walmart. By Evinrude Intruder 150 with fixed fuel injection. By Ranger Boats, still building legends, one at a time. And by Land O'Lakes, the good things in life never really change.
Tommy Biffle is buried up in the In the lily pads, boy, he's in a great area. Has finally made it to his spot, incidentally. And these scum frogs, that's what he's fishing with. A scum frog are really weedless. You can throw them back in this stuff where, you know, in the case of Gary Klein, he couldn't throw a buzzbait in this type of water.
Stay on there, baby. Dadgummit. Dadgummit. It's not good to lose the first one.
Boy, oh boy, shades of last year's championship. Also on the Mississippi River, Tommy Biffle lost that big fish, and these guys take it so hard.
Well, look, there's not that many fish to be caught today. Dave Hyde just missed one. And so everyone is so important. And right off the bat, you know, your first hour of fishing is so important to you. And when you lose a fish during that time, it seems like it's a little tougher on you. These fish are just coming up and sucking these scum frogs under. You know, have you ever been in a pond and heard bluegill popping around the bushes?
Just like that.
It sounds just like this. A lot of times they actually hear this strike before they see it. And then I think this is really important, Tommy. They don't jerk the second they hear it. They let him run just a little bit and then set the hook.
He won't quite make it. He's not but about a 16th short, but he's short. 1/16 of an inch could be $250,000.
There you go. There's one of those strikes you were talking about. Lucky for us, we're going to get to sit out here and watch this kind of stuff today.
And you can see the little path that scum frog made. Tommy, I just love to say the word scum frog.
Scum frog.
You can see the little path that it makes through the scum and around the lily pads. And these bass actually track that baby and get it at a good opportunity. And, hey, and Tommy Biffle is just to the, I guess, just to Davy's right.
Kind of like it right around where the beaver lives.
Well, back to the Jerry Williams story. It looks like Jerry, with the help of the Lockmasters, now has picked up his lost time. And I know he's feeling bad about running hot a little bit earlier, but can you blame him?
I kind of lost it.
Get up, Big Spencer. Probably JB. Is this the full crew then?
This is it. There's two of us is all. I mean, if you could get us on through, I'd sure appreciate it. I've already lost 30 minutes. That's a good sound there.
We're in the Quad Cities area between Iowa and Illinois on the Mississippi River for the Walmart FLW Tour Championship. This spot right here, 2 locks upstream from the Quad Cities, is where Tommy Biffle and Davey Height are battling it out. 1 lock downstream from here, George Cochran and Gary Klein are fishing, and downstream from our put-in point, 3 locks is Jerry Williams fishing.
Did you hear that fish hit that bait?
Yeah, long before he picked his rod up.
Absolutely, and I think it's really important that everybody pay attention to that. These guys aren't hearing a strike and getting all excited and jerking and actually jerking the bait away from these fish. They let them suck that bait down, almost pull it out of sight. It's almost like fishing a plastic worm only on the very top of the water. Let him run with it for just a little bit and then set the hook.
It's a battle just to get him out of that cover, but he ate it good.
You know, Tommy, I think this is a great opportunity here today to kind of watch these guys, watch exactly how they fish and how they're working these unusual lures.
Yeah, something we don't always see.
Absolutely. And you know, the neat thing about our whole situation here, I think.
They got to be hitting it, though, don't they?
Watch how oh, man, there was a perfect example, wasn't it? You know, the great thing about this is you can watch this and go out and do that tomorrow. You know, NASCAR, you could not watch a NASCAR race and then go do that. These guys are showing you something that you can follow up on.
Well, you did like you were supposed to. Gosh, I've never lost him.
Well, I caught one, didn't I? Kind of makes you feel a little better. Come here, little froggy.
Back to Gary Klein. You said he'd be flipping a little later, but not yet, huh?
No, he's still covering a lot of ground with that buzz bait, and
He'll be a keeper or not. My gosh, it looks like he might make it. He's sure a long fish. That'll work. Fish number 2.
All right, everyone's starting to settle into a groove pretty much, or at least 4 of our fishermen are settling into a groove. We still have Jerry Williams down there. He's made it to lock number 17 here.
Gosh, you can't imagine how we appreciate you. Well,
take care.
we appreciate it very much. Thank you, sir.
All right, back to George Cochran here. Now, 2 years ago, he won an event on Kentucky Lake at a great little boat dock camping area, and he befriended a bunch of ladies who were crappie fishing right in the holes where he was bass fishing.
You know what? He may be pulling a similar deal here with some guys camped in the back of this cove.
Well, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see George make friends with him. Maybe even get a free meal out of this deal. Who knows?
Oh, shit. I guess that's for the cameraman.
He's helping you out, George.
Yeah, I love that tune. Well, that tops my day. If they think that's making me feel better, they're wrong.
Back on the Mississippi River, actually a cutoff lake on the Mississippi River for the Walmart FLW Tour Championship. That is Davey Height from Prosperity, South Carolina, catching another fish. Now, he and Tommy Biffle are sharing this water, and Davey Height has jumped off to a bit of a lead here.
Yeah,
Biffle.
and you know, Biffle predicted that it would be between one of those 2 guys that were fishing in that particular little pond, but Biffle's behind a little bit. And, Tommy, these guys don't even have any musicians on the bank.
I know. George Cochran has got a huge advantage right now. he's got a scoring section behind him there.
There are a lot of spectators up there watching these 2 guys, and as always, the spectators are so courteous. They're staying way out of the way of these. They're fishing in shallow water. They have to have a lot of cooperation.
Biffle told me to holler when I caught a big one. I ain't caught a big one yet, so I won't holler.
With 11 pounds and 15 ounces, George Cochran led the final 5 into the qualifying for today. And, George, out there, it's a little bit slower today, but I'm sure you're not near the point of giving up yet.
No, I've got one more place where I caught 3 good ones yesterday. I tried it this morning with my little Strike King buzz bait. It didn't pay off this morning. I pulled in here and caught 1 nice fish and had several bites. It's real still, no wind. Fishing's pretty tough for me this morning. But I'm not giving up yet. I got one more spot where I could catch a limit maybe in less than an hour, so I'm going to have to make that move right quick, and I'll get back with you later, all right?
Okay. Well, that sounds good. Sounds like he's got to move there, Jerry.
Hey, George is out of here.
That's all we need to know. George has got to move, and he said yesterday, he said that if he didn't get that cloud cover today, it was going to be tougher for him. Apparently, it's a little bit brighter, and as he said, the wind was still, so the fish...
He needs a little bit of chop on the water as well. George is so calm, though, isn't he? It's just the same old George all the time.
Absolutely.
He acts like there's no big deal here today.
There's a sound effect that I always associate with the fisherman in one of these tournaments catching a fish, and it sounds like this. It goes... Because their breathing gets so deep and so heavy and so fast. But George Cochran's the one guy, he just stays flat all the way through it. You're beginning to wonder about him after a while.
And again, he's gone. He has left this interview, and he's out of here.
George has left the building, but he will fish on. Maybe we can talk to him later.
We'll catch him later.
For sure, we'll see him here at the weigh-in. Now, just so you'll know, we really need to set this up. There's Davey Height, and right behind him, you see the back of Tommy Biffle's boat. That's how close these guys are, Jerry.
And there's a tree over on the bank, Tommy. You and I can't see that right at the moment. There is a tree, and that's the boundary line. Nobody goes past that tree.
Well, Davey Height's doing pretty good just using his section of the water, staying on his side of the line.
Hello, darling. Third time he hit it. Boy, he got it.
You making it hard on me.
Huh?
You making it hard on me.
You're right, this is about where I turned around. Right here, and I'd kind of sling that way across that point a little bit.
Right there about that tree.
Boy, it don't look like half out there looking in, though. But this is where I've been turning around.
Well, you see a little bit of talk going on about that line, that imaginary boundary that neither one of these guys is supposed to cross today.
How many you got?
4 and a maybe.
I think all mine swam down there.
How many you got?
I've got 1.
Every one I got, I've had to measure.
I've got 1, and I've only had 2 bites.
Is it a good one?
No, about 2-pounder. A good fish. Come on, baby. Don't hang on that pad or bring it with you. Oh.
So many fish have come from this one area over a 4-day period. Actually, you have to start wondering just how long is it going to hold up. But you know, you can look at it this way though. You only need 5 fish between them, so surely it'll hold up for that.
One of the neat things about this sport is that it's family orientated. You can fish as long as you're alive, and it's fun to be in the outdoors. You really become more aware of the environment. So there's a tremendous educational process that takes place in fishing. You become one with nature. You learn how to respect nature. God, what a great office. You know, every day I get to fish outside, and I really enjoy that.
Well, it's about that time of day when people start showing up at our weigh-in tent here and enjoying this, what they call the fun zone.
The fun zone, which Tommy, you and I personally set up.
Oh, it's worth the effort, though, you know?
Not really. Sponsors do a great job of getting that all set up, and a big time is had by all day long.
The Walmart FLW Tour is brought to you by Coca-Cola. Enjoy. By Wheaties, Breakfast of Champions. By Fujifilm, you can see the future from here. And by Citgo, when it counts. There's your leaderboard. Davey Hyde ahead, 4-3-2-1. Davey Hyde's just got 1 more fish than Tommy Biffle at this point. Jerry Williams still looking for his first one.
And, you know, to be perfectly honest now, Tommy, Jerry Williams has come down here on 2 occasions and caught some big strings of fish in a very short amount of time.
I think one just bit it. Bait fish are stacking up in here because of the current. It's making an eddy right here by this point and by this where this rock wall used to be. And when you get that combination of food and current this time of year, you're likely going to get bass.
Well, we hope Jerry Williams' assessment of the situation is correct there. He's got to do some catching up, as is this guy, Gary Klein.
Well, my prediction that Gary would be flipping has certainly been off base.
Yeah, not yet. No flipping yet.
Well, he's throwing a crankbait at this time. You know, that's a little bit unusual for him as well, but he's trying to, you know, he's just trying to pick up 5 fish and throwing a small crankbait back in these little bays off the river on some spinning tackle. Looks like a little bit lighter line. He's kind of finesse fishing, Tommy, as they say.
Well, that's such a finesse, we couldn't even tell he had a fish on there.
That is right.
Back to Tommy Biffle.
And back to Davey Hyde. These 2 guys up there in this very productive piece of water that they've fished for 4 days now. Still fishing that scum frog and still having some activity.
I think he'll make it.
All right, Tommy Biffle starting his charge right now. It looks like he's got some catching up to do, and he's getting on the ball.
Well, you know, obviously these guys like to catch their fish early off where they don't have to sweat it out all day, but I keep saying this. All you have to do is catch 5 during the day, and Tommy's doing that.
Well, as we know by now, Davey Height and Tommy Biffle have been toe-to-toe in that same little patch of water upstream there for 4th day in a row now.
And not only that, but the non-boater caught his limit and won his division in that same little hole of water.
In the same spot. Tommy, are you the only 2 boats that have been in that particular spot, though, all week?
Yeah, Tommy, we're the only tournament boat that's been in here the whole week.
Didn't see any hiding or hair of anyone else, huh?
There's only about 4 or 5 of us coming up here during the week, and I guess they've got some backwater somewhere else that they're fishing in.
Well, what was it about that spot that made you turn in there and shut her down and start fishing?
Tommy, I looked at it on the map, and it's a place to where if the river got up, the river couldn't dirty it up because it goes back upstream, and the water should stay decent in here. And then it's a small lake that, you know, it ought to have a good concentration of bass in it, and it's got a real good concentration.
Hey, Tommy, how about talking to us a little bit about the exact lure that you're fishing with? Hold it in your hand. Let us have a real good look at it. Then make a cast with us and kind of talk us through your cast.
It's a popping scum frog, and the color I'm using is black and yellow. It's just a little old popper. It's got two good hooks when they get a hold of it. It's got a little black and yellow tail on it, and
it's pretty weedless, I assume.
Yeah, you can throw it on top of all this duckweed and pads, and it just comes right across the top. And what I've been working it, I've just been moving it about 6 inches at a time, and then stopping it and letting it set. And usually, that's when they'll get it. Every now and then you'll get one to hit it when it's moving, but most of the time they're biting it when it's stopped. And really just watching the pads and watching the duckweed for fish movement. And if you happen to see a little old stem over there move, or happen to see a little old swirl under the duckweed, you know, you kind of know where one's at. And you try to make your cast over there past him and bring it up there to him. And there's one. There's one, Tommy. Hopefully he's a keeper.
Well, keep us posted here. Tell us what's going on there.
Okay. I believe he's a keeper.
Is your heart still beating, Tommy?
Yeah, that 250,000 is making it beat.
Don't forget to breathe either. Plenty of oxygen makes for a lot more fun. How much would you say he weighs?
He just weighs about 1.75 pounds, maybe to 2 pounds. He's not a good one. It's going to come down to, I believe, me and Davey, and whoever gets the big bite. You know, and fishing this way, there's no way to tell where they're at. You can't control it, so, you know.
Hey, well, I tell you what, Tom, if it gets down to where you need to catch another one, call us and we'll try to talk you into another one.
Okay.
Is that a deal?
We do that for everybody. We don't discriminate. Tommy Biffle out there, a little bit behind the guy right across the pond there.
Well,
but
maybe not now.
He's catching up. He's catching up fast.
That's great.
Synthesizer on. He's got some kind of thing put into that thing, you're right.
My heart aches in trouble, are just fucking wrong. The moment you come in, with your hand in mine, I could dance on and on. I could walk across the field.
record has changed here at the Walmart FLW Tour Championship. Tommy Biffle has pretty much caught Davey Height. They both got a tournament limit of 5 fish, and they both have about 10 pounds. Gary Klein way back, 3 fish and 4 pounds, and Cochran and Williams chasing with 1 fish apiece for about 2 pounds apiece.
Oh, Biffle's words are coming true today, aren't they? Man, what a weigh-in this will be if those two guys stay that close, and I'll bet they do. Davey is no longer fishing the outer edge of these lily pads. You know, they try to fish the outer edge in the morning in this extremely shallow water, and then as the day goes on, they start moving in a little bit because these fish, you know, they're out roaming a little bit during the daytime, would begin to bury back in the thickest stuff as the sun comes out during the day.
Another one on for Davey there. These guys are using some heavy-duty line. They've got to be, don't they, Jerry?
Absolutely. Probably 20-pound test.
Woo! Tommy said holler. I've been trying not to bother him, but I had to holler on that one.
Davey Height from Prosperity, South Carolina, qualified first place the first 2 days here, and just coming up in second yesterday on day number 3. And Davey, back in the same place, but not as easy to get into, huh?
Well, we just made a bad turn. We went on the right side of a stump when we should have went on the left. We've been able to go on that right side until today.
I guess today is going about as well as you can imagine, though, huh?
You bet. I'm in pretty good position. I'd sure like to have one real good one, but so far so good. I got a limit and I've caught a fish or 2.
Are you fishing inside of Biffle?
Oh yeah.
Do you try your darndest not to pay any attention to him and what's going on?
Yeah.
You have to do that. I can't worry about him. He's going to catch some, and we'll weigh him in at the end of the day. But if I'm watching him and one grabs this frog, it'll be too late.
No problem. Still keeping everybody's water separated out and everything?
Yeah.
We agreed again just to stay fishing the same areas like we had been doing. I was wondering if it was going to kind of be a Kansas City shootout here today, but we kept going like we've been doing, and whatever happens is going to happen.
When you pushed off from that landing this morning, what realistically did you think were your chances of coming back here and winning that $250,000?
I really thought they were pretty good, Tommy.
I normally don't feel real confident going into tournaments, but this tournament, you know, when I found these fish, I called my wife, and I'm almost always telling her I didn't do any good or complaining about they were small or something like this. But that afternoon, after I found these fish and I called her, I said, I found them, and she hesitated.
She was wanting to know, well, what's the but or the if? I didn't say anything, and she said, well, I said, I just found them.
All right. Well, that sounds awfully good at this point. Okay, Davey Height, we'll see you back here at weigh-in time. Good luck to you until then. And I tell you what, if he had 3 more ounces yesterday, he would have wired this thing so far. He'd have had to leave each and every day.
And we've never had anybody do that.
Oh, that's a good.
Here's Jerry Williams. He's got his second fish on, it looks like.
And you know what? Jerry goes all the way down here. What we say, 3 locks down.
Yeah, and a lot of time
all day, and he's about ready to turn around and come back now. The other guys are still fishing, but he gets down there and there's no bait fish. You know, he's messed up, but doggone, he's hanging in there. I guess there's still a little bit of time to go.
It ain't over till it's over.
It ain't over till it's over.
Well, George Cochran may have Willie Nelson or someone very much like him in his camp, but Davey Height, not to be outdone, he's just going to sit here and leave it to Beaver.
Cochran here, that had one of those around Cochran all day long, would have beat him. He wouldn't have caught a fish.
Well, what Jerry was talking about, George Cochran is one of the most avid duck hunters in the state of Arkansas, which is full of avid duck hunters.
And I think, Tommy, that George would probably rather be duck hunting today
than what's going on today. Yeah.
He had a tough day, hadn't he? This is probably only his...
it's his second fish.
Yeah, 4th or 5th strike during the day. So that's been a tough one for George. And these guys, you know, they are so good at finding fish that's something we can't, you know, we can't stress enough. And yet, as you watch this, you can't really get a feel for it. But these guys find fish so well, and George's fish just didn't bite today.
It's the first autograph I've ever signed in a lock.
Thank you, sir.
But, Jerry, you're in the lock, and you're keeping busy signing autographs, I understand, right?
Yeah, the lockmaster come down and asked me, said his boy's a real good avid fisherman, and would I sign an autograph for him? And I was more than pleased to do that.
These guys, for the most part, have really been great to you all week long, haven't they?
Yes, sir, they have.
These lockmasters at 17 and 18 really need to be commended. I've been on the Arkansas River locking through for 30 years, and this is two of the best lockmasters I've ever seen, and I'm not just saying that.
Oh, that's
Obviously,
great.
you've been doing this for a long, long time, but do you ever question your own sanity when you give up 6 hours of possible fishing time in a day to fish 2 quality hours? I'm sure there's some people around here maybe question your sanity.
Well, you know, I fished up there 7 hours the other day in water that I didn't catch a keeper in, so I'd rather, you know, my philosophy is I'd rather fish 20 minutes where they are fished than 5 hours where there aren't any. So, you know, if that makes any sense. I'd rather be catching than fishing.
Well, are you pretty well done fishing today now?
That's my signal, and no, I got about I got 2 or 3 little old stops left that there's a possibility I can catch 1 or 2.
Well, that sounds like you got to go then.
I'm on my way.
We'll see you.
All right, Jerry. Well, I guess there's no question that he was ready to go there. The lockmaster was ready to get those guys pushed out.
We've got a bunch of fishermen in a hurry today, aren't we?
I tell you what, they are moving fast today, and
They're giving you and I no respect.
No respect at all. But of course, we haven't earned any.
That's right.
We'll get close to weigh-in time, and Gary Klein is almost back to the launching ramp. There's still doing a little good.
One of those last cast deals for Gary Klein. Oh, no!
Because he's going to come off.
Oh, can't even look at that.
Gary Klein just made the highlight reel for this year.
Oh, the way he did not want to make the highlight reel.
Oh, man. What a great guy Gary Klein is today. I'm sorry that him and George Cochran both kind of had a tough day. We didn't get to explore their strategy as much as we would have liked to, but hey, we're about to load up and go to the big site, Tommy.
Yes, time has run out for everyone. They are on their way back to our weigh-in tent, and I tell you what, we have had such great crowds all 3 days of this tournament.
And good people. Boy, I mean, they have been into this tournament, and I think that our 5 finalists have certainly not disappointed anybody at all. And boy, we've got 2 guys that are going to make a heck of a race out of it. When we make it to the tent, somebody's ready to go here, aren't they, Tommy?
Yeah, $250,000 on the line.
I could walk across Texas with you.
Very good.
What a weigh-in this should be. And after a couple of rounds, we have eliminated Jerry Williams. And from what we saw out on the lake, I'm doubting whether George Cochran or Gary Klein can challenge Biffle or Hyde.
Pound 15 to tie, but you got to take the lead. That's what it's all about.
Let's take a look there. Need one more, George.
Don't have it.
That's
Don't
it.
have it. Oh, man.
1 pound, 11 ounces, 111.
Well, George, let's have a big hand for George Cochran, one of the greats in this sport. George, I know after yesterday you were pumped, you were ready to go, and of course you also know you've been around this game long enough to know that nothing's for sure, right?
Well, you know, after yesterday I was leading the tournament, and I guess in the first hour I was using a little 1/4 ounce Strike King that I bought at Walmart.
Yeah.
Little buzz bait, and I caught about 15 bass in about an hour in the area where I was catching them, and I had those 5 good ones, so I left it. And I thought, boy, I really thought that I could walk away with this tournament. But I'm happy to be in the top 5. These are all my friends. So one of them's going to be a lot richer than he was when he got here.
No, absolutely right. Give him one more hand so he'll go out and fish harder next time. George, I'll have you sit in the back there. Gary Klein, now you're going to have 3 pounds. Excuse me, is that right? Can that be right? Yeah, 3 pounds, 2 ounces. 3-2 for Gary Klein. Gary, you're not kidding me, are you? Oh, man. Let's give him a big hand. One of the greats, all-time greats in the sport of bass fishing. Man. They just weren't there for you?
Well, I stayed in pool 14. I made the decision when I came here that I don't like locks. I was very uncertain about a lock schedule, so I decided to try to utilize my time. And I stayed in pool 14 for 5 days of or actually 4 days of practice. And I got a couple little areas that had quite a few fish in them, at least I thought, but I don't have the history of the river, so I don't know how hard I can work these areas. Water dropped on me about a foot. It's not an excuse. Just, you know, the fish changed on me, and I didn't really have the opportunity to change.
All right. Well, Gary, one more hand for Gary Klein, a great competitor through the years, and will continue to be. Thank you, Gary. Tommy Biffle's weighed in 4 fish, and Davey Hyde has weighed in 3 fish. We're down to 2 guys. Everything's tightening up. $250,000 will go to one of these 2 anglers. So when things get tense, when we start to lose the oxygen in the tent, we have to take desperate measures. We have to go to a commercial.
What's the life expectancy of this fellow? About 30 seconds?
The Fuji Flashback features a butter sculpture of Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year, Denny Brower.
This year has been one of those years, I doubt if I'm ever able to duplicate. So many things went right. It's hard to have that many things go right in a year. And to have the honor to end up winning the Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year, I take a lot of pride in that.
The Walmart FLW Tour is brought to you by Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks. By Everstart, the name says it all. By Mitchell, we know the water. And by Igloo, it's for keeps.
You're watching the FLW Tour Championship from Moline in the Quad Cities here on the Mississippi River. Tommy Biffle is our leader right now. Tommy has weighed in 4 fish, and he's got 7 pounds, 5 ounces. Davey Hyde has weighed in 3. He needs 1 pound, 12 ounces to take the lead. And here we go. 1 pound, 12 ounces. What Davey's got to have.
One fish, he is very alive.
Oh, man.
2 pounds, 6 ounces, 2-6.
Davey's taking the lead. He's now got 8 pounds even. Tommy Biffle has to have 12 ounces. 12 ounces in order to take the lead. Got that fish ready to go, and there it is. Looking for 12 ounces.
And the weight, 2 pounds, 12 ounces, 212 for Tommy Biffle.
Stay right up here, Tommy. You might as well just stay right here. Davey's weighed in 4. Tommy has weighed in a tournament limit of 5 fish, and Davey, in order to win the $250,000, has got to have 2 pounds, 2 ounces, 2 pounds. It's gonna be close. 2-2. Looking for 2-2. Another super alive fish.
1 fish in the weight, 2 pounds, 13 ounces.
Davey. Someone to see you here today. Tell us who this is first, David.
It's my wife, Natalie.
All right. Great job, Davey. Everyone in here probably knows it by now. Not everyone in the Walmarts across the country knows that you and Tommy fished the same spot of water. You had the whole Mississippi to work on. You stood toe-to-toe, basically, and fished the same spot of water. I know neither one of you wanted to see the other one lose, but I tell you what, it was some battle for 4 days running.
I tell you, Tommy, when I found those fish, I'm usually pretty skeptical in practice, but when I found them, I told my wife that night that I'd found them. And she always waits for the buts and what ifs and all that. And the only thing I said is, if I get too much company, I won't do well, but I can win a tournament. maybe with one other boat, with more than one, I wouldn't be able to do that. And I really don't think I can win every tournament I go into. And it turns out it was one other boat, and I wouldn't have picked another man in this tournament other than Tommy Biffle. We drew a line, and we both fished hares, and $250,000 on the line. Very, very few people in the world would do that. And Tommy and I have both had a lot of second-place finishes in real big tournaments. I kind of thought one of us was going to finally win one of these big ones, and I promise you I wanted Tommy to win if I didn't win. And I thank him for being such a professional.
He is a professional, great sportsman as well. Tommy Biffle deserves a hand. A great job. I know you've had some disappointments in your career, but when you're there and you have a shot at it, you know you're doing the right thing.
I've said all week that either one of us, Davey or myself, would win it, and it would come down to who the last day who got a good bite, and that's what it came down to. So the FLW Classic's on my home lake next year, so it's in Wagner, Oklahoma, on Fort Gibson Lake.
You'll be ready.
I'll be ready.
You'll be ready. Another big hand for our runner-up, Tommy Biffle. Great job out there.